I hear often from some people who want a large government that we need central planners, overseers, we need intellectuals, we need intelligent individuals to oversee society, economy, healthcare, etc. because we have no order. Basically, when you break it all down, the philosophy of the extreme left is that we need elites in charge so they can create order. My first question would be, how does an individual in Washington, D.C., or wherever this government would be located, know what's best for me as an individual? And what's best for me as an individual might not be the best for my neighbor. So what gives them the intellectual capacity to know what would be best for everyday individuals? And my second response would be, we already have order. The economy, nature, even going to work. Every single thing that you see in your life just about that makes the world work is based upon order. And that order would be spontaneous order. So before I get into a few examples, let me define what spontaneous order is. Spontaneous order is a group of voluntary, mutually beneficial transactions between free people, nature, etc., that has no central planner, no authority figure to oversee these transactions, so it looks like it's spontaneous. But it all has order. So my first example would be a pencil. If you look at the materials of a pencil, it has cedar, metal, and rubber, and graphite. So imagine that you have all of these materials separately. You have graphite, cedar, metal, and rubber. Could you put all these together and make a pencil? I mean, it's not as easy as you think. No single person on earth could do it without the help of countless others. And that's the key to understanding the world. So the most immediate ancestor of the pencil would be a cedar tree. And most of the cedar trees are in the Pacific Northwest. The loggers are also its ancestors. But the loggers need tools. And those tools are created by people who make saw, rope, and all the other tools that they use. So those people who create saws and the tools are also ancestors of the pencil. But so is the waitress at the local restaurant who serves the loggers their meal, and the countless other people who had a hand in creating that meal. Consider the roads, trucks, ships, and the people who built, designed, and maintained them. All of them are necessary to bring the lumber to the mills and the factories that process all those materials. And all of those people are ancestors of the pencil as well. With all of the work by all of these people, so far all we have is a piece of stained wood slat. So a naked half of a wooden body of a pencil. So you need graphite, and that is mined in China and Sri Lanka. Then you have to bring that to the pencil factory, and it's mixed with clay, heat, and other materials before it is extruded, dried, and baked. And you have people, so think about this. To get a pencil, you have people in different continents who have different cultures cooperating to bring these materials together with wax and equipment from across the world. The same is true of the eraser, which also has ingredients from around the world, and is the end result of a complex process much like the pencil. Each part of the pencil is the result of the cooperation and the collaboration of millions of people. Together they form a process that is constantly changing and adapting. A change of price in a small material might make another material more desirable, and the process adapts fluently. That isn't the most fascinating thing, though. The most fascinating thing about the entire process is the absence of a mastermind to tell people what to do and how to do it. The people involved in the process do so voluntarily, not because they necessarily like pencils or what pencils do. They might not even want pencils, but because by working to create them, they exchange their labor and skills for wages so that they can buy what they want. So what you're seeing is the market at work, the spontaneous configuration of creative human energies. Millions of people with various skills and talents organizing voluntarily in response to human necessity and desire, as if they were led by an invisible hand to promote an end. Every second we're alive, we benefit from the products of voluntarily, spontaneous cooperation. This is the modern world. It's miraculous. It's intricate, and it gets better every day. As long as people are free to interact with each other, if we can leave creative energies of humankind uninhibited, there's no limit to what we can accomplish. So think about it. You have a pencil in your hand. Every type of material is made by different people in different parts of the world. And after it's made, you have to have trucks to distribute those materials. You have to have people maintaining the roads. So when you break this all down, it's all done by individuals. But it's not just in the economy. I mean, you could say every product, your television, your table, almost every single product that you own in your house has materials that are created in different countries by different cultures, by different people. But also think about language. Language doesn't have a central planner or authority telling us how to speak. It's been passed down through many generations. It's mutually beneficial because of communication and seems to work naturally. We all communicate in certain countries a certain way, and communication helps us develop friendships, develop relationships. It helps us be able to get products and services by explaining what we want. It gives us books, it gives us music, and it gives us so many things. But you don't have a central authority figure telling you how to speak. Then you have traffic. Even without lights or the presence of law enforcement, traffic flows naturally in a way that mutually benefits society. And all this happens without the presence of an authority figure. I really started to think about this when I was driving on the road the other day. I saw that there were lanes. People were going a certain speed, and people were flowing naturally. That benefits us because there's no crashes, which are wrecks, which cause injuries. Not a lot of the time. There are sometimes. There's a way to get from one side of the town to the other, to work, to go to the mall for enjoyment, to go wherever you want to go. So it all benefits us mutually. You also have communicating vessels. This is in nature. We're adding liquid into any of the openings of the containers. The liquid settles and it balances out the same level in all of the containers, regardless of shape and volume of the container. So if you're thirsty and you want to pour yourself a glass of water, you get that glass of water from a faucet, and that glass of water forms naturally and balances out inside of the container that you put it in, and it flows naturally. You also have it in osmosis. You have a flux of water and it crosses from a semi-penetratable membrane from the least concentrated to the most concentrated solution. So it even happens in nature. All of these processes in nature, all of these processes in the market happen naturally without a central authority figure trying to tell you what to do and how to do it. So I think that if we would just stay out of the way and let individuals perform these tasks the way that they see fit, that mutually benefits each other, is the best way to go. And for any of these people who want a large government, trying to tell them what to do, or thinking that they need intellectuals to better plan out how to allocate resources. Tell them to look at some real world examples. Look at the pencil, the materials, and the intricacies of it. And then look at the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union has more natural resources, well, at the time it did, than the United States. But for some reason, the Soviet Union relied on the United States to feed its people. That's because you had a central authority figure trying to allocate scarce resources to individuals. And what would happen is if you had a scarce resource like cheese, for instance, if you produced too much yogurt because the government told you to, you would have a lot of yogurt that rots away. Meanwhile, you would have a shortage in ice cream. So the government allocating resources never works. So when somebody tells you that we need elites at the top controlling things, tell them to look at the pencil and the Soviet Union. Those are real-world examples of how individual humans and their transactions cooperating with one another make a better world